This is TWiT.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to TWiT After Hours. It is Friday, and I am here. I'm Jason Howell. Happy to do this. Happy to be here. Happy to kick off the weekend for you guys. And we've got a couple of awesome guests joining this evening. We're returning to the AMA format, doing things a little bit differently this time around, though. Joining us on this wonderful Friday afternoon, we'll start to my right on screen, OMG Chad. How you doing, Chad?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
Doing great. Super happy to be here. Feel like I'm back.
Man, yeah, it's good to have you back. And that set is awesome. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But before we do, I'm going to look down underneath me. What are you doing down there, Padre?
Oh, you know, just doing my thing overseas in the land of, I guess, Karoma.
Oh, ooh, okay. All right. You could go there. What time is it in the land of Karoma?
It is now 1:06 a.m. So it's, you know, it's just about time for me to start the day.
Okay, I was going to say that's actually not very late for you, if I remember correctly, from when you worked at TWiT years ago. Of course, Padre is not your real name. It's Father Robert Ballecer, for those who didn't know.
Yeah. I've been getting people who have been commenting on the fact that I seem to be going to bed when they're waking up, and I don't think that's gone unnoticed.
Well, it's really good to see you. It's always awesome to podcast with you. Thank you for hopping on today. And finally, let me see if I can look in the right direction here. It's kind of backwards. Down in the corner, it's Rene Ritchie. How you doing, Rene?
Really good, thank you. Super happy to be here. This is going to be a lot of fun.
See, I'm feeling very much like the back of my set is very underwhelming compared to all the splashy like colors and everything that you guys have flashing around. So, thanks a lot. That's my way of saying I'm really impressed by all that you guys do. Thank you. Where should we start here? I guess we can start at the very top. Padre, Father Robert, you said you were in Rome. Let's check in with the others and find out before we kind of get started here where everyone is at. Chad, where are you living these days? Where's your studio?
So now I am in Dallas, Texas, and I moved. So I moved from Petaluma to LA. It's been about a year there, then moved to Dallas, and I've been here ever since like 4 years ago, something like that.
Yep.
So that's where I'm at now.
Right on. All right. And Rene, Montreal, right?
Yes, I am in Montreal, which went from snowing last week to 92 degrees this week. So that's that's what we're up to.
You're in Texas.
Snow on the ground.
No, the snow went real fast.
Yeah, I imagine so. I lived in Montreal for a very short stint. I absolutely loved it. Beautiful city. Loved it. One of these days I'll go back. Well, I'm hoping that my internet actually survives through all of this. So go ahead and hit my internet or call it names if it doesn't. My apologies if my audio ends up being really chunky throughout this. But we're going to cruise on and do what we can. Why don't we kind of check in with all of you, because I think you're all doing something different now than, let's say, you were a few years ago. Some of you longer than others. Chad, I think you kind of transitioned into your new reality, 4 or 5 years ago. Padre, a couple of years ago.
Virtual reality.
Very recently. Yes, exactly. So I thought we'd start off there. Start off with kind of like the transitions of where you are versus where you were. We'll start with you, Chad. You went about 4 years ago, you went from an old normal to a very new normal. And now your channel has reached 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which is amazing. So congratulations. You obviously made the right move at the right time, because here you are. It's something to be really proud of. What did you learn kind of in the process of transitioning from what used to be normal for you to this new normal and making that thrive? How would you answer that?
So very unwillingly, I guess, would be my first answer. It's like I was nervous and scared the entire time. So went from working full time at TWiT to I worked for part-time at TWiT for a while, for like 4 or 5 months. And then I moved to LA, and I was full-time YouTube at that time. And every step of the way, luckily I feel like I've learned a lot from TWiT. Like I learned so much from TWiT, and so I applied all of that to all my other projects, to everything I've like done through. I mean, even like some of the stuff with this set, is stuff that I learned at TWiT, and just pay the bills. Like just struggled to pay the bills, or sometimes did great paying the bills. It's definitely moving from something where you have a salary to a job that is self-employed basically is terrifying, and so you got to ride the peaks and valleys, and so I don't know. Any like specific questions about the new normal? Like it's been I don't know, it's been fun.
Yeah, no. It's kind of from a general perspective. Like I think there are a lot of people that are facing a transition from one normal to a new normal right now. And there's a certain level of resilience that you kind of have to have in order to really pull that off, to do that successfully. So obviously you've stuck with it, and your channel is thriving right now. And I know that doesn't happen immediately. It's a challenge to get there, I can only imagine. So I'm just so incredibly impressed and happy for you that you're able to pull that off. So why don't we transition then to Rene Ritchie? Because Rene, you very recently, like for years, your normal was iMore, and now your normal is YouTube. You transitioned into having your own channel, really kind of doing what Chad did a few years back. And I don't know, I'm very curious to know kind of what this has been like for you to go from this point of stability with iMore into this, cross some fingers, let's make this YouTube thing happen. And I have all the faith, and I know that it's going to happen, and you're doing so great already. But like, what does it feel like to go through that?
So, I lived in secret awe and admiration of Chad for years, and it took me a long time to sort of follow in his footsteps. But no, literally, so seriously. But I can't give you a real answer, because I gave my notice at iMore in the beginning of March, and I gave 4 weeks notice instead of 2, because back then there was still some potential that Apple might have an event, and I didn't want to leave them high and dry, because it's really hard to get people into Apple events, and I didn't want to be the jerk who's like, sorry, I'm not going, see you later. So, but then this whole shelter in place thing happened, and I turned out I had maybe the worst, maybe okay timing, I don't know, but everything since then has not been normal. I mean, viewership is up, but everybody knows that sponsors have been more in the air than they have been previously, and also getting set up. There's always like a few months before you start doing something and you actually start getting anything for doing it. So I'm like terrified but excited, but terrified but excited, and fingers crossed. So far it's going okay, but I try to never have too many expectations. I just think you keep your head down and you work really, really hard. And it's that old like Henzo Gracie saying, the more you work, the luckier you get. And I'm just hoping that bears out.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good saying. Yeah, I mean, you, like you said, you put your head down. You don't focus on like the destination necessarily. You just focus on doing the work. And it really seems like, building a YouTube channel, building that following, getting that subscriber count high, it's a long game. It's not a quick game. Maybe
one video at a time.
Absolutely. And pretty frequently videos, one video at a time, one after another. Awesome stuff. I love seeing what you're doing. And then let's transition down below me to Father Robert Ballecer. It was a couple of years ago that you were working with TWiT. You were still, obviously, you were with the church, and then you were also working with TWiT at the same time. Now you're living in Rome, and it's almost like you've kind of taken, at least from my perspective, you've taken the technology stuff you were doing for TWiT, and now you're doing it with it where you are there now. So tell us a little bit about that transition. What was that like for you?
Yeah, a little strange, because I'm basically doing the same stuff that I was doing when I was with TWiT. You just don't see me much anymore. I'm on the other side of the camera. And actually, if I were to turn the camera that way, normally during the day you would see this. This is what's outside my window. So it's literally, that's my neighbor. So that's kind of the setting of what I'm
location.
doing. Yeah, location. Oh, it's wonderful, but at the same time, it means that I'm in a place that has a lot of inertia. There's not a whole lot of desire to change. There's not a whole lot of desire to do things differently. And strangely enough, the lockdown has really enabled a lot of really good work, because suddenly a lot of the departments that were used to doing in-person meetings, that were used to doing presentations away, they were coming to me and they were saying, can you do this? Can you do this? In the last 3 months, I think we've probably done over 100 broadcasts. And wow, my personal work has been getting pushed further and further back, which is kind of annoying. But I still have love for the tech work. I wish I could be doing it every single day. I haven't published. You talked about having to do it often. I haven't published a video for my personal account in 2.5 weeks. But I've been publishing 3 videos a day since then, just not for me. Right. So, I'm still doing it. You just don't see me much anymore.
3 videos a day doesn't leave much room for anything else. We all work in video. We all know just how much time it takes to turn around a dang video, let alone 3 of them in one day. So you're forgiven, Father Robert Ballecer.
Oh. Thanks. Oh, TWiT absolution.
That's right. For whatever it's worth, you're forgiven by me. Let's take a few moments and kind of talk about your space a little bit. Starting with you, Rene, we're going to start differently. We're going to kind of hop around. Did you have to kind of tailor your space in a different way versus? I know that when you have been on Twitch shows in the past, it wasn't quite as neon-tastic as it is now. So you probably put a lot of thought and everything into your space. Like, what are some of the elements that you really wanted to make sure you had nailed in your setup?
Yeah, so I moved a couple of years ago, and I basically moved so I'd have a much bigger place to film. Before, I was sort of me and then a wall behind me or shelves behind me, and now I have some depth behind me. And this is a Logitech camera, but when I'm using like a big Canon Cine camera and a really fast lens, then I get quite a lot of depth out of it, and I really like it. And I had the wall put up. That's not real brick. That's sort of like a layer of brick. It's not paint, but it's actual stone. But I had that put up on the wall so it would have some dimensionality. And then because I'm still really, really ignorant about things, I had hue lights and they were rolling, and I didn't realize I could set the refresh rate on the camera differently than the frame rate on the camera. So I had the refresh rate at 24 frames and the frame rate at 24 frames, and the lights were rolling. So I ended up buying Quasar Science lights because they were fast enough you didn't see it. And then I realized I could just switch the hertz to 60 and the frame rate to 2398, and it would be fine. It's totally fine. So I'm learning through a lot of trial and error, mostly the error part. Sure. But I wanted a place where I could eventually have, sort of inspired by the old TWiT studio, where eventually I could have a camera and turn it in different directions and have different places inside that I could, mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, that definitely gives you a lot of flexibility if you have the size, the space to be able to do that and have like one corner. I mean, I'm in our master bedroom. This is literally the only corner that I get. So I don't have a whole lot of flexibility here. That's why I just have 2 pictures hanging in front of me. I love the texture that you put on your back wall. It looks really good. Oh, thank you. The whole space looks great. Padre, when you got into your space, is this the primary studio that you're calling from right now that you work out of? And is this what kind of elements did you make sure you had in there? I know you spent a lot of time setting everything up when you moved there.
Right. Now this was supposed to be my studio. It was actually a forgotten room on the roof that I think they were using to store from dead animals. I think this was the dead animal room. And seriously, I found the one key to this room, and I figured, okay, I'll just slowly start setting up. So I've been I have been procuring pieces from around the campus, around the house, different pieces of furniture. I actually found enough material to make sort of a drop floor so that I could run all the cables underneath. I found a way to tint the windows so that I could actually use it, and then to run power up here, run network up here. Unfortunately, the flip side to the whole lockdown is they started noticing I had something up here, and they found it. And now they've been wanting to use it for the broadcast. So my studio downstairs is more for sort of the stand-ups, and the studio upstairs is more for broadcasting, for podcasts and such. And unfortunately, that also means that I can't do much with it. I would love to do like what Chad has done or what Rene has done. I turn this a little sideways, build out depth, but it would mean that I would have to actually build a set, and it would have to be a set for me, which they don't want me to do because there are, generals and bishops and cardinals who come in here and they can't have a bunch of tech hanging off the walls. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. There is one more room that I think nobody knows about that I might be able to find the key for. And if I do, I'm going to start setting up my own private studio.
Yeah, I think you might be able to find the key in the book, the Da Vinci Code. I think that might give you a few ideas on where you could find that.
Cipher.
Yeah,
I will say I borrowed enough gear. Basically everything in the studio I brought from the United States because it's so hard to get things here in Europe, and we don't have a budget for that. But like for example, this switcher has been incredible. This little ATEM Black Magic switcher.
Oh, is that the Black Magic? Oh,
this thing is amazing. It's basically
jealous.
a mini TriCaster, and it works with the ATEM software. So if you know how to use the ATEM software from Blackmagic, this is perfect. It gives you 4 inputs. It gives you the ability to keying, titling. It's not just your switcher; it's also your capture device. So I actually ordered like 3 or 4 of these things because they're so incredible. But it allows me to take the cameras that I have that I've inherited from the previous communications person, and set up a pretty competent system for next to nothing.
Not bad. Listening to you kind of borrowing elements from throughout the place and then like repurposing them in your studio really reminded me of my time when I was at CNET, where we had the podcast studio, and it was like, all right, I don't really have a budget, but I do remember there was a closet that I saw a bunch of technology stacked up. No one's obviously using that stuff. I don't even know if there's anything in there that's useful, but I'm just going to go in there, bring it in here and see what I can do with it. And it's kind of cool. It's like you get to piece everything together and give everything a brand new life.
The table that I'm on right now is actually an old altar. So that's how strange this thing is.
That is amazing. I love it. What about you, Chad? You've gone through a couple of different iterations now, and I got to say things are looking really sharp right now.
I love that studio.
What are you most proud of in how you kind of set up your studio?
So this is actually my quarantine project. Nice. So before I was in a different room, this used to be like a bonus like game room that literally I'd never put anything in. So I decided like, let's just go crazy. Like, let's see like everything that I can do into it. Like, let's just try it. So we got the 3D panels on the wall. Those are painted with like a super high gloss paint. And then I think my favorite thing is the lighting is I've run all the lighting with DMX control, which is like a really old school way of just controlling the lights. I'm pretty positive it's still what is like used for like the Super Bowl and stuff like that. Like
yeah, it's still very used. Yeah.
Yeah. So DMX is in the TWiT studios. I'm used to talking to people who like are not. They're like DMX. Whoa, you must have had to hack that together. I'm like, nah, it's just protocol. You just use some software. So yeah, that's what I've done. So I actually have robotic lights that I can change to be like whatever I want them to be. If I want them to move like crazy, I can. If I want them to go kind of slow, I can. And then I can also change all of the lighting too. So all the different colors can be different. They can be whatever I want them to be. And I can also like change sort of the I guess motivation of the light. So I have like a blinky sort of light here, and then I have more of like a running like chase or whatever I want to do. I can pull off with the lights, and that's just all DMX controlled. The actual fixtures, I'm gonna totally mess up my shot here. I'm never gonna get it back. But the actual fixtures are these like $45 fixtures that you can just buy from like an Alibaba knockoff, and they're sitting right there. So those are the actual robotic fixtures. And then I forgot that board right there that actually has me see if I can pull that up. So I use WLED to. I wonder if this is. I think one of my pieces is broken. Darn it! But behind that board, there's a another LED. I kind of got into addressable LEDs for a little while, and there's an addressable LED line down there. And my hope is that eventually I'm going to get even more into addressable LEDs, and some of my LEDs will arrive from Alibaba, which, cross our fingers, that happens someday.
How long does that take? Normally, let alone
it's
right
already
now.
been a month.
Yeah.
So who knows? But yeah, so I wanted to add even more LEDs to under the desk and along the edge and that sort of stuff. And there's ways to control that also through DMX, or you can use like a sort of like side protocol to make that work as well. So I think that's some. And then this desk is all just IKEA stuff that I just kind of threw down. And I've only had the chance to shoot in this room 3 or 4 times, and I'm so excited every time I get a chance to, because I'm just so proud of how it looks. I never really had anything this nice all the time before. So yeah.
I mean, sure, it's a studio. It's also a dance club. So at least there's that.
It really is.
It could be. Just need those LEDs to come in to get the disco floor.
You use the diagonal. I mean, it's got depth. It's got this rich color to it. It's amazing. It really is. Nice job, Chad.
It's gorgeous.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Now, the LEDs are those WS2812 LEDs?
These are W2812s, Bs.
Oh, 2012s. Oh, okay. Those are brighter. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, they're still 5 volt. I was thinking about going with the 12 volt just because you don't have to power inject every right. I think it's 5 meters or something like that. But I couldn't in the middle. Like I said, it was my virus project. I could not get a 12 volt power supply anywhere. It was just impossible to get a 12 volt power supply. But I could get a 5 volt, so I got 5 volt, and so. That's why I decided to go with that. The other thing that this is also new is I shoot this is my room for streams, and then I also shoot OMG Craft in this room. But I have 2 cameras set up. I don't have the fancy ATEM Padre, which I really want and I'm really jealous of. But yet maybe one day.
Exactly.
GizWiz needs it. The GizWiz is seriously it needs as bad because I still use webcams and OBS to switch that. But this I use I just use SparkoCam to capture my Canon cameras, and so I have 2 of them. Yeah. I just bought the cheapest the Canon T6. And so this shot is my OMG Craft shot, which is a green screen shot. And so whenever I need the green screen, I just pull that down, and then I change around my robotic lighting so that it doesn't do that, and then I click this, and then we got a more seamless green screen. And I don't use this chair. This chair gets in the way, so I have a different chair for the green screen. But that is how I get my green screen. So I just switch the cameras and then pull down this is the Elgato green screen. And there you go. That's how I get it.
I got one of those. Yeah, those are amazing.
Yeah. They're so nice.
This is so inspiring. Everything that's happening that has been happening with YouTube, but especially in the last however many years, where the production quality, the production value of YouTube content has just gone up considerably. And it's this crossover between people who are just really winging it, flying by the seat of their pants, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll just do this a little bit of crossed over with this intense creativity and the ability on a budget in many cases to actually pull it off. It's amazing what you can do.
What's amazing to me is you see one guy, it pulls back and there's just a Samsung or an iPhone behind him filming his entire show, and then Marquez opens a closet and there's 8 red cameras lined up, and you go and all the videos are great, but there's everything in between those 2 things.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. One of the amazing things is with the pandemic, you have all these studio folk who have started doing content from their homes, who are used to having studios that are completely staffed and manned. Yeah. And it's been kind of fun to watch because you're sort of looking at that going, I could do that better. Yeah, I know how to work at home. I know how to work in a small space.
Yeah, so very true.
It's ridiculous, like watching like the news and like they're all like at home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I should start a business that all it does is just tell people like, or just why headsets like. It's like, oh my God.
Why is the camera looking up your nose?
All the Jimmys reach up and adjust the phone, right? Like they're always reaching up and adjusting the phone in the middle of the show.
Right.
So like they don't even realize that like they need an external mic. Like they don't it's the room mic, and you're like, are you going crazy? This is ridiculous.
You'd really
doing the news on like an iPhone corded microphone headset. It's like no, you can afford better than that.
In some cases, that would be an upgrade to like what they're doing.
Totally.
Like,
I completely agree.
Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah,
they're using their phone mounted on a tripod 7 feet away from them because they thought that looked good. Never thinking about the fact that the mic is also on the iPhone. Sounds bouncing around the room. Like, yeah, in that case, one of those wired Apple earbuds would be an upgrade. But it's amazing to me too. Like, these people that have cut their teeth and live and breathe in broadcast, but when they're put in homes, it's like that all goes away, and they're like, I don't know how to do this, because they probably have a team working for them as well in the normal situation. So, on average, how long would you say it takes to turn around a video? Each of you does video of different kind of technical complexities, pulling in game footage. That probably requires a lot of play, or maybe it doesn't. You're all shooting content, but all content is not shot the same, and it definitely does not edit the same, and it takes a lot of time. How long does it take you guys to turn this around? Padre, let's start with you.
Well, so I've got a couple of different types of content. If it's my personal stuff, it's always back burner. So I try to do it within 24 hours, but some of them it gets pushed back literally weeks. The broadcast content, when I have to turn that stuff around or turn it into something shorter, that's a turnaround time of minutes. Like I've got 60 minutes to get something turned from a 1 hour presentation down into a 5-minute YouTube video. So it depends. There are some things that are ready to go. When I know I have a quick turnaround like that, there are a few things, and you all edit, how to do this. There are a few things you can set up ahead of time so that you just drop in the assets and you're ready to go. But the content that I do for myself, it's just like when I was at TWiT. If you see me for 1 hour of broadcast, there's probably 5 hours of prep for that 1 hour, and then there's at least 2 to 3 hours after it to produce it into something that I'd be proud to release. So you go all the way from weeks of super refined content down to hours for my personal content, down to minutes for the content for my quote unquote job.
Right. Yeah. It's a wide range for sure. And let's see here. So Rene, considering, especially in your case, like this new channel, this is relatively new. Are you doing all the back end work on your own now? Were you before? Yeah. And how long does this take start to finish?
Yeah, once in a while I have a friend come over to help me, especially with B-roll, but also just sometimes to help set up everything while I'm doing it. But we shoot everything, and right now I'm doing 12-bit RAW, which I shouldn't be doing, but I just got addicted to it. But I'm trying to move down to 10-bit because it takes an hour just to spit out the file after I color grade it. But it typically, for like a news analysis video, it'll take me 3 to 8 hours. And if it's a review, I have to shoot a ton more B-roll, and those are usually longer, and that'll take me maybe 2 days to turn around. But that's literally the expense of everything else. That's me starting to film or shoot, either at 8 or 9 a.m. and then getting the video uploaded at 8 or 9 p.m. to put live the next morning, and then rinsing and repeating and doing the donuts all over again the next day.
Oh man! And are you doing content on a daily basis? Like, is this the hamster wheel that you're on right now? Every day, one video, that sort of thing.
I average about 4 a week right now, and
Okay.
I might drop that
That's
down
sane.
to 3 so that I can spend more time fixing up other aspects of the production. But the news doesn't stop. I was just hoping, but it doesn't stop. It's relentless.
Yeah, the news would end and it'd be like, all right, Rene, take the weekend off. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, that doesn't
And then
happen.
suddenly somebody has Apple glasses rumors, and you're like, it's at least 3 videos.
Right. Well, you always have content. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And in this industry, you need that. That's valuable commodity right there. What about you, Chad? I mean, it's a little different, perhaps, because a lot of times you're dealing with game footage. A lot of that, I get the feeling that you're recording it kind of live as you go, but there's probably a lot of editing that people don't know about or don't realize happens after the fact.
Yeah, so like it's kind of all over the place depending on what type of video that I'm making. I'm lucky that I have a whole bunch of different ways to make videos. So like if I wanted to, I could just sit down in front of the computer and talk about a thing that I already know. But I'm like, okay, I got this in my head. I could just tell someone about it, record it, upload it, it's done. But in general, the videos are something that I don't know about, that I need to do my research on, that take a lot of time, not only to like learn, but maybe I might need to set up a world or set up a situation that's going to happen repeated, that I can do over and over again. So sometimes I find like a lot of prep is not only in research, but also in like, I got to jump into the game and then make a world, which is kind of a interesting aspect of doing virtual content over like physical, like, iPhones in the real world. In general, me and Rene are like almost exactly alike in that I try really hard to, there was a time that I did a video a day, but 4 videos a week is basically what I can produce. And anything more than that, I'm just like, it's like, I don't get a break. It's just an absolute marathon. And so about 4 videos a week, and that is me working every weekday 9 to 5, which that was kind of like my New Year's resolution, was that I would only work 9 to 5 because it's really easy to slip into, but I just have one more thing I got to get done. Okay, I'll do this, do that. And then suddenly it's 3 a.m. and I have to go to sleep because I have a recording at 10 a.m. the next day, like that sort of thing. So
you have to go to sleep because if you don't, you're going to die because you didn't sleep at all.
That is so inconvenient.
I know, but at least it's there.
That's when you know you're a broadcaster.
Yeah.
When you're like, I could just die. I could get the work that I'd die, but it'd be done.
But it'd be done. You know what? I think I'll just go to sleep.
More videos if I just took this week to not sleep and die.
Yeah.
Thankfully, that doesn't
Come on,
happen.
Chad.
But what you're talking about is a very very big point that a lot of people are learning right now. It's really difficult to have a good work-life balance when you're working and living in the same place, right? Like a lot of people are doing their work at home now. We're all learning these lessons that Chad, you began learning, 4 years ago, if not earlier than that. Rene, we've all experienced this to some degree, but now we're forced to like live it. And I know for myself, it's really easy for me to find my personal time, which I know is very valuable and necessary, suddenly kind of blur into work time because this won't take that long, and who am I kidding? It always takes longer than I think it's going to take, and suddenly there are no boundaries, and that's just a really important thing, is making that boundary.
And on YouTube, it can be really bad because the audience is really fickle, especially if you're in a area that's not so much focused on the personality. If you're focused more on the news or focused on like tutorials like OMG Craft is, where if you work harder, your product will be better, which is in general a great way to get people to watch more of your videos. If they come to your video and it's really good, they're going to stick around for another video. So you almost feel guilty if you haven't put that extra time, effort into the video, because you know that it's going to make it better and in a way that would positively affect the bottom line. And and also you're constantly looking at the competition, and normally it's really sad that like my competition is like kids that don't have any job or they could spend like 5 weeks on one video because they're not worried about production. Like they're not worried about the next video. And so like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like I'm looking at some of the videos that like I'm competing with. I'm like, they obviously spent 3 months on this and there's no way I could make a video like this. Like it's impossible unless I had like a staff of 30, like holy moly.
Right.
So that happens.
I see that every once in a while. Yeah. There's a channel I've been watching recently called Let's Play It Out. And basically he mocks games. That's his whole thing. And actually he's been YouTubing for a long time, and it only got popular when he started mocking the games that he was reviewing. And they're these fun, just incredibly fun little 5 to 15 minute hits. But like Chad, I was watching these and going, this must have taken him weeks to put together. Yeah. And he's putting out one of these every week. I'm thinking he's got to be stacking these things up and spending all these hours and then editing them down so that he can just take the funny snippets, which I admire, and I love the content. But I'm thinking that would kill me. I don't have enough hours in the day to try that style of content.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens all the time where I'm like, you are obviously a high schooler in the summertime and you just spent at least like 36 hours straight on this like one thing. Like I couldn't do that. I have like maybe 10 hours I can work on a video before I gotta get to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Let's see here. One thing we thought we would have a good time with on this AMA to kind of change things up a little bit. Because, I'm making the assumption that we all play games. I know you do, Chad. And I know you do, Padre. Rene, are you much of a gamer? Like, do you have gaming in your blood?
In my head, I am, but I right now I would have to sacrifice sleep hours for gaming hours. And I totally haven't been able to make that. I do sometimes, but then I regret it later.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Like I'm a legacy game player, and then I want to still consider myself. But then when I sit down to play a game about halfway into it, I'm like, all right, I'm tired. I don't have the energy for this. I need to go to bed.
But even TV is like that now. It's like I want to watch something, and I'm like, but I have to finish.
Yep, absolutely agree. Well, thankfully, the game that I have lined up is not like a hardcore game in any sense of the word. It's Drawful, which I feel like we played this at TWiT not too long ago. Maybe it was the last time we did the kind of like TWiT game night thing. But I think that you guys are being sent a code to log into
we're just missing Rene at this point. Oh,
there you go.
Oh, you know what? It totally kicked me out. Yeah, it disconnected me too.
Oh, okay. Sending you guys a new code.
We're going to do we're communicating this in the back channel so that we can all get in the same room and everything. We can play a little game of Drawful. And then I don't know how easy this is going to be, but while we play, can I still ask you guys some questions? Okay, we have a new code.
Heck yeah.
All right, cool. I don't know how concentrating, how much concentration we need in order to jump into this. All right, so I have jumped in. I think Anthony is passing along the code to you guys if you have not gotten it yet.
Everyone, and Rene is the VIP, so he needs to kick off the game.
Okay, so I have to just draw a picture of myself, right?
Yep.
Okay.
This is the worst picture I've ever made of myself. Okay.
I am not good.
All right, so Drawful 2.
My body became a gigantic mustache. So there's that.
All right. If you look at your devices right now, you should see a secret prompt just for you. Weird stuff. Like cat inception or, I don't know, flatus. Draw a picture on your device that would have that title. And when you're done,
you're cheating.
hit
Don't share
send.
your screen.
You'll get points for each player that can correctly guess your title. So, go! Do it.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
Oh boy, this is okay. I'll just go ahead and say right now, it's gonna be really hard to interview you guys while I'm drawing.
I have, yes.
So just do your best, and I'll do mine as well. And how long do we have for each of these things?
Do we get extra credit for sending it in quickly?
No.
Oh, dang it.
No credit.
No
Never
divine
mind.
intervention, Padre.
Yeah,
So,
this is gonna be
if the
bad.
audience wants to join in on voting for these drawings, if you go to jackbox.tv and enter the QBIV code, you all could join in.
I did a bad thing.
You messed up.
Well, I mean, no, because that's about as good as any drawing I ever make is gonna get. So, yeah.
It's really hard to draw with the touchpad on the new MacBook Pro, the 2019 anyone, not the latest one, where like it's hard to know when I'm clicked down. So I keep messing up my picture. At least that's what I'm going to blame it on. How much?
There's
time
a
do we have
stylus for this laptop. I just don't know where it is.
You're the only one left, Jason.
A stylus.
Oh,
Nobody
okay,
wants to
okay.
use a stylus. They want to use their finger.
left? There we go. Wow, that took me a long time. Yeah, it's hard for me to draw.
Let's all take a look at the first one.
Okay. Did we all get the same thing or no, we didn't?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
Now,
What
take a
is
wild
it?
guess
Now,
at what the
I will say I did
Uh,
this very fast.
Apple computer?
Whoa!
When they type it in,
Padre,
I think. Do I do another? No, I just get
Here are
one
your choices.
option.
One of them is the real title.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh. Darn it. There we go. I misclicked.
And here are
I
your
clicked the wrong
picks.
one. Just so you know.
I gotta watch my typos. Hello.
Wait, was that
Apple
it?
Magic Keyboard. That
was
was it. Yeah, that was good. Once I saw the words, I was like, okay, yeah, it's definitely that one. Good job.
I did not think
Okay.
this game would get that so specific.
Thought it'd be like house.
I thought it would be very generic.
Oh my gosh.
Another drawing. Type in a convincing
Who
title
draws
now.
that well?
That's an actual drawing.
That is art. I'm dyslexic. This is. You're gonna know which one I wrote.
And here are your choices.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I know this
And
one.
here
Yeah.
are your picks.
One of them makes sense.
Have you guys played this game before?
No.
Jackbox.
Some sim. I've played other Jackbox stuff.
I think I'm starting to get the game.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm not doing well.
Okay.
I'm
still
doing
in
very
last
poorly.
place, so can't play too much.
All right. What? Oh boy.
Huh.
What? I'm so confused.
So wait, we vote for other people? Is that the thing?
So each of you,
Try to trick
each
them
of
into
us,
voting for you.
yeah, each of us makes a
Here are your
guess,
choices.
and then we all pick what we think is.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. I get it. I think.
Okay, who picked what?
I see. So that was the one.
Nobody liked Waffle Man.
Yeah.
If you like
I actually gave Waffle
If you
Man an extra
wrote
point.
the thing that other people chose, you get points because of it.
Yes.
Right.
Because you fooled them.
And as the artist, I can award extra points to an answer that I actually like more than the others. So I gave you
Let's
a
take a
point
look
for
at our
that,
next drawing.
Padre. Oh boy.
It says on my screen. Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to.
Zoink.
You drew this. It is too late to change.
Here are your choices.
Oh boy.
And here are your picks.
Oh.
I think everybody got it.
Well done.
Very good.
I mean, I wondered if Tinder Reject or Tinder
that
Reject
could have been
would have made its way in there, but
Come on.
this is a family game, right?
Oh, okay.
Should be on your devices.
All right. Oh boy. Okay.
Should I throw some questions at you guys?
Sure. Why don't you do it, Anthony? It's hard for me to pay attention.
Okay, let's start with was it Rye Guy on Instagram? What is your favorite piece of technology, Jason?
My favorite piece of technology is usually the technology that I'm using at the moment. And at the moment, I'm using a piece of technology that I actually can't talk about. It's under NDA, but it's really cool, and I can't wait to talk about it on the network in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned.
Padre,
I'm sorry, what was the question?
favorite piece of tech?
Favorite piece of tech, right? Probably the Asus. I've got one of these, the Station Pro, the Thunderbolt docking station for my laptop, because now it means I can actually play games on it. It's amazing. I've got a 1660 Ti in there. It breathes life into an old laptop.
Nice. Renee?
Oh my gosh.
I missed the question. Sorry, I was drawing.
Favorite piece of technology?
Favorite piece of technology? Right now, I'm just living on my phone. It feels like it's my lifeline to the rest of the universe and the world. But if not for that, maybe the television, because I can keep it on and just listen to it during the day.
I'm really not good
Enter
at
your
drawing.
titles
Oh my
now.
goodness.
Okay.
Chad, what's your favorite piece of tech?
Favorite piece of tech? Gonna say a drone.
Do you fly a drone a lot?
Not as much as I want, but yeah. Every once in a while.
And here are your choices.
Oh boy, let's see here.
Let's see what people picked.
Okay.
Yay!
Yay!
Haha, got you. Just reminded me of that scene from Mission Impossible
Yeah.
from a long time
I meant to do
ago.
mirrors, but they look like cables. I messed up.
So wait, which one was the act? Oh, it was planking.
Yeah, I was planking.
Yeah, totally.
Oh man, I do wish I had like a stylus or something like that. This would be
I wish I had any
A
drawing.
stylus.
anything.
A stylus. Gotta use your finger. That's what Steve Jobs told us.
Trying.
Yeah, but he also said no one wants to watch video on an iPod.
But that was a red herring for sure.
Here are your choices.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And here are your picks.
Let's see if I can find another question and throw everybody up.
Y'all were duped. Duped, I tell you.
All right, are any of you collectors? And if so, what do you collect? Oh.
I would love to be a collector, but I move so much I can't really have anything.
What would you collect if you could?
I would collect bottle caps.
Let's take a look at our next drawing.
What is this? Oh God, I can't put in what I'm thinking.
You can, but can you live with the results?
I really wanted to put in something else, but I felt like I probably should not.
Here are your choices.
Okay,
I got it.
All right.
Okay, who picked what?
Got you.
Oh, I thought all of us would be.
Chad,
No, that's good. I thought what was that? Oh,
Yeah.
Wow,
was actually
Chad,
very-
you actually figured that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, once I
I am
realized,
impressed.
I wrote down Pokemon, so I thought if there's anything that says Pokemon, then it's gonna be Pokemon. But then the only other thing, because I wrote that down, it was like, well, it's Baby Yoda for sure.
Now.
let's see.
Jason, what's the worst tech purchase you've ever made?
Oh man, the best and worst questions are so hard to come up with. What's the worst tech purchase I ever made? Impossible to say that it's the worst, but the one that I really remember was when I was a kid and I had the Commodore 64 and I kept seeing these advertisements for this like flight joystick that I thought looked really cool. And I saved up my money and I ordered it through a catalog and it was delivered to me and it was the worst piece of garbage in the world. And it stung because I had my hopes so high that this was going to be the best joystick for the Commodore 64 ever. And it was just
Rene is
horrible.
the champion.
Renee
Good job.
is the champion.
But
Jason
is
got the most
likable.
likes, though.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right.
That's
pretty fun.
Okay, I just have to say I am really bad at drawing. I've always been really, really bad at drawing.
That's the beauty of a game like that because it kind of doesn't matter. That's part of the fun. It's like
No,
taking
some
a
of you were
horrible
actually
drawing,
making things I
figuring
could
it out.
Again,
figure out.
If you'd won, we would have said divine intervention. So we thank you for playing cool.
Apparently, you can buy the T-shirts of these if you would like. So you can buy
serious?
all of these little things on a T-shirt.
Yeah, no.
Monetize.
That's an interesting monetization strategy. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do so we're nearing the end of this. If it's possible to do this in speed round, let's try it. We've got some questions from Twitter folks out on Twitter.
Okay.
Twitter is a social network, if you didn't know.
Oh, what is this?
For now.
Let's see here. We're crossing out some of these that we've already asked. Thank you, John T. Russell, the third, who sent in something on Instagram, actually. Okay, let's see here. Can anyone slap the bass? Can you slap the bass? Can you play the bass? Anyone?
That's what that means. Okay.
I think so. I'm assuming.
Actually, yes, I can.
Do the sign.
I always wanted to be musical, but
No,
I'm not.
you're
Same.
musical.
I can only
in how
do
you
one
play.
song though.
Do you play an instrument, Renee?
No, I have zero musical talent.
So far, but soon.
No.
That's all going to change. What are you guys doing outside in quarantine? During quarantine, when you get outside, what do you do?
I walk.
What is this outside you speak of?
I was afraid of
I go
that.
out for walks and then I curse people not wearing masks around me.
Yep.
I've been doing like tennis. Been trying to get into tennis. Mostly just like walking my dog and chores.
It's funny how
Chores.
chores can be a break from everything, but it's so true.
Yeah.
He's in Dallas.
so
So
one-
chop wood every day.
One question from John Russell again on Instagram was favorite Mac computer of all time, desktop or mobile. But maybe we should just open this up and say favorite computer of all time. But we'll start with you, Renee, because I think this was kind of addressed for you initially. What was your favorite Mac computer of all time?
I mean, for sentimentality, the Apple II Plus. I don't know. That probably doesn't count as a Mac. So I'd have to say the original Mac. But just there was something about that beige box that was, basically programmed in his garage or Steve's garage that just will never leave my heart.
Beautiful. Absolutely. What about you, Padre?
Probably going to be the TI 99 4A. It's an old Texas Instrument integrated keyboard. I kind of learned how to program on that thing. I had the cassette recorder attachment so that you could actually record your programs onto a tape. It would take like 30 minutes, and then to reload it, you'd play the tape, and it would put it back into the audio port. That was fun. That was really my first computer that I did not get out of a trash can.
That, of course, was the Trash 80. Was the one that you got out of the trash can, right?
Yeah.
DRSA.
Right.
Yes, I had a friend who had the TI-99 for it, and we played along with that as well. What about you, Chad?
My first computer would have been an E-machine, so that one is kind of like near and dear to my heart because it was also like comically a horrible computer. But the first computer that was like good that like I was really excited to get was I had the iMac G5, and that was like life-changing for me because I could use Final Cut on it, and I learned even more how to edit away from school because we had Macs at school to edit with, but now that I had one like in my own bedroom, I edited music videos and all sorts of stuff on it. So that iMac G5 was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'd have to say Commodore 64, but it's just it was the right time of my life for a computer like that. So
anyone here had an Amiga?
Yeah, I had an Amiga
I
2000 and
one.
4000.
I wanted one. I totally wanted one.
Yeah,
with a video toaster, it was the best. It was amazing.
Oh, you had a video toaster.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Amiga really seemed like it was at the top of my wish list. It never quite happened, but I always had these fantasies of like finally getting one and all the things that I'd do if I got an Amiga. Never happened though.
I never even got to work on one. Like they were mythical computers. I was like, oh my God, if I got one of those, I would make movies. It would be amazing.
Yes. You just watch Babylon 5 and say you want to do that.
Yeah, I only ever really saw it in catalogs. That was basically my history with Amigas. Trying to think of one last one here. Puppet Master asks a question that's so easy to answer. What are your plans for the future?
We have a future. Has that been confirmed? Have we got a second season of this?
Let's assume that we have a future, and if so, what do you hope to do with your future, Rene?
I just want to get to the point where I feel like I'm not running to catch up to where I was when I left my old gig. So I just want to get to like a point of where I was before and moving forward again. That would reduce my anxiety considerably.
Yeah, fair enough. I can understand that. What about you, Chad?
Oh man, there's a few projects that I want to start with OMG Craft that will be a little bit of a shift in what videos we've been making. But I'd also like to start a new channel. Maybe. The thing is, I cannot find the time, and finding the time to start a new channel would be very, very daunting. But yeah, I think that's my future plans at the moment.
Interesting. People will stay tuned for that. And finally, you, Padre, what are your plans for the future?
I was serious about finding another place somewhere here in the Korea that nobody knows about, because like Chad, I would love to put out regular content, but I can't do it if I'm constantly shifting things around. I mean, this studio changes at least 6 or 7 times a week. And you all know this. If to make something, to do that creative process, you need a place that's yours, that's always going to be ready, where you can just sit and start making, start shooting, start editing. So I'd like to get there. If I could get a space that's mine, even if it's smaller than this, even if it's half the size, a confessional closet. I want a place that's mine, so I can just make something, even a little something every day.
Yeah,
give him a cathedral. He'll deck it out. It'll be fine.
We have so
there's
many
one
of those,
around.
and I can't get a closet.
I think I've got a cathedral in my pocket. No, that's just some change. I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to get good eggs. Actually, that's what I want. In the near future, I want eggs that aren't destroyed.
Like a TARDIS, but for cathedrals. They're bigger on the inside.
That was one of the questions that we actually got again from John T. Russell on Instagram, who said, why does the Vatican hate eggs so much? And you've been putting out on your Twitter feed. We'll round out by, giving you a chance to kind of promote what you guys are doing. But if you follow Padre on Twitter, you will probably very regularly see the permutations of the eggs that are put out for breakfast. Why do they always look like that? That doesn't look like food usually.
Well, I can answer that with a quick question here. Which of these is not eggs? So if you were to look at this, which of these four pictures is not eggs?
Okay, that's definitely eggs.
Definitely eggs.
Definitely not. That's not eggs.
That's not eggs.
Okay, see, that was a trick question. Those are all eggs.
Ew.
But you're coming from Petaluma, so your standards are probably high.
Yeah. You have higher egg standards.
Well, that's true.
It's historical in the Vatican. It's part of tradition. It goes way back to the Napoleonic Wars and Pope Eggs Benedict I.
How long have you been holding on to that one? Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. So this is the chance for everybody to find out where they can go to follow your work, to see, stay in tune with what you guys are doing. We will start with you, Padre. If they want to follow your eggs online, where can they do so?
Well, the easiest place to go is to go to Twitter. If you go to twitter.com/PadreSJ, you will find my eggs, but you'll also find pretty much everything that I'm doing. All my feeds, all the videos that I create, all the content, even the content that I'm not in, you'll normally find it posted up there. Again, that's twitter.com/PadreSJ.
Always great to hang out with you, Padre. Thank you so much for hopping on today. Rene Ritchie, obviously you have a YouTube channel that folks, you've got a lot of subscribers. You of course want more. What do you want people to know as far as like the content that you're creating, where they can find it, all that stuff?
Yeah, so I do almost daily tech videos about Apple and related technology. I do analysis of the news and reviews of stuff. And I am either incredibly boring or incredibly consistent because I'm Rene Ritchie on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, reneritchie.net, all of those things.
You had quite the combination of YouTubers saying this at the beginning of your landing page video. I just have to say that was really impressive. I don't know how much work that took to get that, but
it was funny because I know the tech YouTubers, and then I know the bloggers who've gone to YouTube, and then through Nebula I know all the education YouTubers, and I tried to get a mix, as best a mix as I could.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Hey, you ended with someone you've worked with, Jason.
Who was at the very end? Was that you?
Brian Tong.
Who was it? Brian Tong. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that's right. Brian Tong was in there. Brian Tong very recently.
And Leo.
Relatively recently. Yeah, Leo was in there, but Brian Tong made the move to YouTube on his own as well. So, yeah, very cool stuff. Thank you, Rene. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And finally, Chad Johnson, what do you want people to know as far as stuff you're doing and where they should go to be more than your millionth subscriber?
Thanks. Well, first, I want to say, Rene, congrats on the channel. I love that intro video. Like everyone else, I feel like it's like almost like a flex of like, yeah, I know all these people.
Totally.
Like really cool. Really cool. So I do stuff on youtube.com/OMGcraft. That is the Minecraft channel. That's the big one. We just passed 1 mil subs. It only took 8 years to get there. So there we go. Yeah, that's it. So that's where I upload. At least I'm trying to get 4 videos up a week. And then I also stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/OMGchad. The GizWiz is still going on, gizwiz.tv, if you want some good old-fashioned gadgetry and hilarity with Dickie D. And Twitter as well, twitter.com/OMGchad. I'll probably update you guys on any other projects that happen down the way. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. If you happen to start that new channel that you were talking about, that'll be the place where people can find out about it. I'm curious to know what it would be, but we can talk offline about that. As for me, I'm just, I'm at TWiT, doing TWiT things, doing shows, Tech News Weekly, all about Android, hands on Android. Just go to twit.tv as you probably already have, or if you're finding this on YouTube, that's the place that you can go to find all sorts of awesome technology content, video and audio content just like this, and a whole lot more. Big thanks to everybody who coordinates this each and every week. Of course, Anthony Nielsen is in the studio pushing the buttons, and you heard his voice there for a little bit. So thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Laura. Thank you to everyone at TWiT for coordinating this and giving all of you a reason to kind of take a break from normal life and just kind of enjoy hanging out. That's what this is all about. So we appreciate you joining us each and every week, and we'll see you next Friday for another TWiT After Hours. Take care, everybody.